After barely surviving on the last episode, Franklin woke up in the rain, cold, alone, hungry, and of course, surrounded by zombies. Franklin looked around to see if there was any possible escape routes, but the only way out was through. We jumped onto the street and started running, witnessing the destruction nearby. Zombies were everywhere on the street, so we fled to the bus, and they followed pretty quick, and man, it was just a free-for-all. Zombies everywhere, left, right, up, down, sideways, diagonal. We heard some gunshots in the distance, so we ran over there to see if there was anybody friendly. That definitely was not the case. So now we were facing zombies and humans all at the same time. We tried to see if we can get into the cop car, but of course it was locked, so we continued to fight our way through. We continued checking a couple cars just to see if we can get in, but we had no luck. We noticed that was an aircraft taken down, so that's probably why all the zombies were in the area. The crash created a lot of noise, attracting a lot of zombies. No time for reprieve though. The runners were coming. Now there's a lot more runners at nighttime, so we had to find a way out. Now a whole horde came, so we ended up jumping on a fire truck just to escape, so we could take out a few before jumping down. So we hopped down and headed for the highway. A few hours passed, and it was time to head into our biggest challenge yet. We had a tunnel full of zombies, so we equipped a suppressor and headed in. But suddenly we were attacked, and we had to get the high ground. We took out the zombies lurking nearby, and then hopped back down and proceeded. Then we were attacked out of nowhere again. Trying to regain our footing, we tapped the zombie in the head and finished him. We were a little bit frazzled, so we were trying to get there as quickly as possible. And we sensed somebody was behind us, so we quickly went into the bus and waited until we found him. We hopped off the bus and deeper into the tunnel, trying to stay as quiet as possible. But everything can't go smooth. We were ambushed from the back, but we handled the business. We finally saw the exit and climbed the rubble to finally see some daylight. Scanned the street to make sure it was clear and proceeded on, but not before almost getting attacked in the back. It's been another few hours and we continued down the highway. We ended up finding a big traffic jam that we had to get through. So we thought this might be the perfect opportunity to find some supplies. So we checked out the camper with no supplies in sight. Tried to peek through this minivan, nothing in there. A couple of suitcases in a truck and on the street. Checked the nearby car, but it seems all of the supplies have been scavenged. But it was nice to be in an area with not that many zombies. We continued walking, looking at the scene as it looked like the military had been posted here. And of course, nobody survived. We saw a blockade and got past it with no supplies scavenged, but we were still alive. We continued down the road to find an abandoned hotel, but while looking for supplies, we were spotted by zombies. So we tried to take out the few that came without making any noise until we had to make noise, and that's when the runner came. So it chased after us, we tried to rout it, jumped off the balcony, turned around real quick, hit our shots, and that was the end of that. This place was too crowded with zombies, so we tried to find a ride, but no luck. Everybody seems to be locking their doors, and then we glitched out a little bit. So we left the hotel in search of greater treasures, and a few weeks had passed between then and here. We met a fellow friendly survivor named Trevor, where he was stashed in a trailer park, so they both were relaxing there until supplies ran out. It was time to find more, or at least a better location to stay. When we left, we heard some gunshots in the neighborhood, so we went to go investigate. There's been a lot of raiders in the area, so we knew we might have to take care of business, but we had to get through the zombies first. We had to pop a few heads, but it was way easier with backup. We were getting a little overwhelmed, so we pushed forward and tried to stay quiet while the raiders were fighting their own zombies. So we sneaked in, location by location, trying not to get eaten ourselves, slowly inching our way forward, and trying to pick off a few when we could. Well, when we had the opportunity to. Eventually we got around the back, took out one raider, and then took out another, and the zombies took care of the rest. So we ran around and siphoned some ammo, picked up some guns, and then was back through the neighborhood to get out of there. We tried to stay as sneaky as possible to not attract attention, and then we found a nice vehicle that looked like it could be repaired. Unfortunately, it decided to blow up on us, may have been trapped or rigged, so we moved on. Took care of a few bogeys, and then by happen chance we found a car that was already repaired. So we hopped in and made way. Now there was another group that rushed into the neighborhood. We tried to get by, but of course these guys are ruthless. They want what we have, so they tried to take it from us. We tried to lose them, but we knew we had to fight, so we got out the car and handled the business. Then we took their car. Then we saw that red smoke in the distance, so of course we had to get that too. It was heavily guarded, so we did a little spray and pray. But we were in a tough situation. We had guns in the front and zombies in the back. So we retreated a bit in zigzag formation so we could take out the zombies first, or at least thin them out, and then come back for the gunners. So we thinned out the zombies, decided to try and blow up the ambulance, which helped out a bit, and then we finished off the rest. Now the crate was ripe for the taking, and we took the Jeep too. Fortunately, the tire was shot out, so eventually we had to stop. Fortunately, we saw an airplane, and this was an opportunity to escape. Not seeing a runway was pretty difficult to try to navigate, so we tried to find a straightaway, but these zombies kept getting in the way. We ended up taking so much damage that our plane caught on fire. The escape plan was a no-go. Rest in peace, plane. Nighttime fell, and as you know, that's when the runners come out. So we needed to find shelter quick, fast, and in a hurry. But we were in the desert. There was no shelter nearby, so we had to make a run for it. We ran in the safest looking direction, hopped into the water, and prayed, and the prayers may have worked. I think we found one of the weaknesses. The zombies can't swim. We didn't want to risk it though. We kept on moving, crossed another body of water, and we tried to make it to shore before this one got us. So we tried to sneak around, but it seems that they found us anyway. We defended ourselves and ran like we had never ran before. We found another trailer park, but the doors were locked. We had no shelter until we found a doorless shelter. So we got in, shacked up, tried to stay quiet, and it didn't seem like the zombies knew where we were. They were running around aimlessly, so this is our opportunity. We're gonna stay here for the night. We boarded up the only entrance and made a campfire. We then stayed there till the morning. Morning came and we eventually snuck out. You can see the town down there, and we made it to some high ground. We lost Trevor in the scuffle last night, so we were trying to see if we could find him, or at least see a signal from him. But getting out of here was going to be tough. It seemed that the zombies were just waiting for me to come down. So we decided to thin out the horde. We took a few of them down, so we'd have a better chance of escaping, and headed down the ladder. This wasn't normal though. There was a whole bunch of runners still, so we ran ourselves. We ran and ran and ran back to the water, and we actually found Trevor. So we held the position for a little bit, but it was a relentless horde, so we had to keep moving. We got on the road and tried to see if we could find a ride. Found a likely candidate. I repaired the engine. Trevor got my back. We hopped in and set GPS points for the airport. We may have blew up one plane, but there's always the next. We stopped by a local gas station on the way to see if we could siphon some gas. No gas was around, but there were plenty of zombies. So we took out what we could, double checked to see if we can get in the store, at least for some food, but it was locked. No gas, no food, just no luck. So we got out of there. We found a second gas station though, and this time we had some gas. Still no food, but at least we could travel. Plus there was no zombies nearby. So we took the gas before we attracted even more and zoomed on down to the airport. Now we made it to the airport and we haven't seen a zombie for a while now, but we were still cautious. We made our way onto the flight line, and then that's when we saw all the zombies. They were just behind the building. So we drove on trying to find an airplane, one that we could actually fly. So we checked one of the hangars, but it was empty. We weaved through some zombies across the flight line even more, and we did find a fighter jet. Unfortunately, it was a one-seater, but we used this opportunity to clear out some zombies. We couldn't just take off because we couldn't leave Trevor, but we accidentally blew up the jet as well, and seemingly our car. So now we had to run down the flight line in search of a plane. No plane in sight, but plenty of zombies. I think we may have just ran out of luck until we saw our prize. We found a souped up zombie mobile. It was unlocked, so you know we had to scoop it. We took this baby and headed out the airport. There was no planes, but we did find an armored tank, even if you could barely see inside. It's been a few days since we slept, so we're trying to find somewhere safe to sleep. We're headed for the docks right next to the airport and parked up with the waves crashing. We may be in a zombie apocalypse, but you can still stop to see the beauty.